While driving my wife and her friends to a spa weekend, I heard her say from the back seat, "Honestly, he's like a rescue dog. You feed him, and he wags his tail, so easy to control." The car went silent, except for their laughter. When we arrived, she didn't even say thank you. She slammed the door and said, "Don't forget to wash the sheets before I get back. They stink like you." I drove 5 hours home in silence. Yesterday, she showed up crying at my door, begging me to talk. I'm not sure where to start with this one, but I'm still trying to process everything that happened this weekend. My hands are literally shaking as I type this. I've been married 8 years to Skyler, both of us in our mid-30s. I thought things were okay, not perfect, but normal. Last Friday started like any other day. I woke up at 5:30 a.m., made coffee, and scrolled through my phone while Skyler slept in. We've had separate morning routines for a couple of years now. She says my early bird schedule ruins her sleep, so we keep separate alarms. Whatever keeps the peace. Around 8, I hear her moving upstairs, music blasting from her Bluetooth speaker. She's packing for a fancy spa weekend with her friends, something she's been planning for months. She deserves a break. We all do. When she comes downstairs with her designer overnight bag, the one I got her last Christmas that cost more than my monthly truck payment, she mentions casually that her friend's husband bailed on driving them. Then comes the ask, would I mind taking them? It's only a 5-hour drive each way, and I'd have the whole weekend to myself after dropping them off. I hesitate. That's a lot of driving in one day, and I had plans to meet Hugo for our Saturday fishing trip. But Skyler does this thing where she tilts her head and gives me that look, and I just give in like always. This becomes important later. By 10 a.m., I'm behind the wheel with Skyler riding shotgun, and her 3 friends, Laura, Haley, and Ruth, crammed in the back with their bags and snack cooler. The first hour is fine. Music playing, everyone chatting about normal stuff. I mostly stay quiet, focusing on the road while they talk about people I don't know. By hour 3, they've gone through 2 bottles of pre-mixed margaritas from those pouches you get at convenience stores. Not enough to be wasted, but enough that they get loud and start forgetting I'm there. That's when it happened. They're talking about marriages and relationships. Laura complains about how her boyfriend never listens and how she has to nag him for everything. Then Skyler, my wife, chimes in. Honestly, he's like a rescue dog. You feed him, he wags his tail, so easy to control. The car goes completely silent for like 3 seconds. Then they all burst out laughing. I literally feel my grip tighten. On the steering wheel, my knuckles going white, but I say nothing. Just keep driving like I didn't hear, even though my face was probably burning red. They must have realized I could hear because they changed the subject right after, but the damage was done. For the remaining 2 hours, I replay those words in my head over and over. Rescue dog, so easy to control. 8 years. 8 fucking years together, and that's how she sees me. Some pathetic animal she's trained. I keep driving, answering their questions with one-word responses when needed, but mostly numb. When we finally arrive at the fancy mountain resort, all glass and stone, probably costing more per night than my mortgage, Skyler and her friends pile out with their bags. I get out to help, but they're already grabbing everything. Skyler doesn't even look at me as she walks away, just calls back over her shoulder, "Don't forget to wash the sheets before I get back. They stink like you." Then she laughs. They all do. I stand there by my car, people coming and going around the resort entrance, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. 8 years, and she couldn't even say thank you for the 10 hours of driving I'd just done. Just, they stink like you. That was it. The drive back is the longest 5 hours of my life. No music, no podcasts, just me and my thoughts on an empty highway. Every conversation, every argument, every compromise over the years replays in my head, but through a new lens. Had she been controlling me this whole time? Remember when I gave up weekly guy nights because she said they were juvenile? Or how we always spend holidays with her family because mine is too chaotic. Or when I wanted to use my bonus to fix up my project car, but somehow the money went toward new kitchen appliances instead. By the time I pull into our driveway, it's almost midnight. The house feels different, colder. I wander from room to room, really seeing things for the first time. No photos of my family anywhere, my stuff always hidden away in drawers while her things get displayed. Even the coffee maker is the one she wanted, not the simpler one I preferred. I sit down at our desktop computer to check my email before bed. Skyler keeps her laptop password protected. A red flag, right? That's when I notice she hasn't logged out of her social media. I've never been the type to snoop, but after what I heard in the car, 2 hours later I'm scrolling through years of messages between her and her friends. Messages about me. How she trained me to give her what she wants. How she deliberately picks fights when I bring up things that matter to me. How she and Laura laugh about their projects. Me and Laura's boyfriend. It's like reading about a stranger, or worse, reading about myself from someone who sees me as a joke. I don't sleep that night. By morning, something has changed inside me. The hurt is still there, but underneath it's something hot and sharp that steadies my hands instead of shaking them. I make a decision. I'm done being someone's rescue dog. That morning, I call Hugo. I'm going to need his help. Skyler. We'll be home Monday, expecting her well-trained pet waiting with tail wagging. She's got another thing coming. Update 1. Wow. First, thank you all for the support on my last post. It hit differently. Reading through hundreds of comments from strangers who understood exactly what I was feeling got me through the weekend. It's been 4 days since I dropped Skyler and her friends at that spa resort. 4 days since I heard my wife of 8 years call me her rescue dog. 4 days of the most eye-opening experiences of my life. Remember the messages? That was just the tip of the iceberg. After posting here, I decided to dig deeper while she was away. Not proud of it, but I went through everything. Our shared laptop, old phone backups, financial statements, the works. What I found made me physically sick. First, the money stuff. Turns out we don't have as much saved as I thought. For the past 3 years, Skyler's been siphoning money from our joint account into a private one I knew nothing about. Not huge amounts at once, but between $200 and $500 every month. That adds up to over $20,000, money we were supposedly saving for a down payment on a bigger house. Then I check our credit card statements. She's always insisted on handling them, and discover she's been hiding purchases too. Stuff she told me was on sale, or gifts from her mom were actually maxing out our credit card. The worst part? She's been paying only minimum payments while telling me everything was paid in full. Then I found something that made my blood boil. A text conversation with Laura from last Christmas. Right after I gave Skyler that expensive overnight bag. Skyler. Just opened ours gift, another overpriced bag to add to the collection, lol. Laura. At least he's consistent, better than Frank who got me a blender. Skyler. I trained him. Years ago. Act super excited about one designer thing and he thinks that's all he ever needs to get me. Men are so simple. Laura. You're the master. Teach me your ways. There were hundreds of these conversations over the years, mocking me for working late to afford the things she wanted, laughing about how she manages me by withholding affection, until I give in, screenshots of our private arguments sent to her friends with laughing, crying emojis. Saturday morning, I texted Hugo. He came over with coffee and sat with me while I showed him everything. Hugo has known us both for years, so at first he thought I was overreacting. Then I showed him a video Skyler had sent Laura 2 months ago. Skyler recording me. While I was fixing the leaking bathroom sink, she stood behind me, copying my movements and making stupid faces. In the background of my call with Hugo, you could hear Laura laughing, and the look on Hugo's face told me everything. That's when I realized I wasn't crazy. We spent the rest of Saturday making a plan. First stop, the bank. I opened a new account in my name only, and moved half the money from our joint account into it. Left just enough for pending bills. This wasn't revenge, just protection. Then we reviewed our monthly spending. Turns out I'd been covering subscriptions I never used, meal kits she ate alone, and a mountain of self-care stuff that cost more than my car payment. I canceled everything that wasn't essential. By Sunday morning, I was on fire. I called a locksmith and had every lock changed, packed her stuff carefully, I'm not a monster, and moved it to a storage unit paid up for 30 days. Texted the info to her sister, the only one in her family I still respected. The hard part came next, telling people. I hate drama, but I needed backup. So I put together a short message with screenshots of the worst stuff she'd said about me and sent it to close friends and family. I didn't post it publicly, not my style, but I made sure the people who mattered knew what was really going on before she could twist the narrative. Responses were mixed. Her friends obviously sided with her, accused me of being invasive for checking her messages. Whatever. My family had my back. My mom asked if we could try therapy. Sorry, Mom. You don't go to therapy with someone who treats you like a pet. The biggest surprise came from Skyler's brother. He called that night, said he'd always suspected something wasn't right. Apparently, Skyler had been this way her whole life, always controlling, always manipulating. He apologized for never speaking up. Her texts rolled in nonstop on Sunday. First, it was casual. Hey babe, having the best time, miss you. Then confusion. Why aren't you answering? Everything okay? Then full-blown demands. Pick up now. This isn't funny. I didn't answer. On Monday, I took a personal day, reclaimed the house, rearranged the furniture how I wanted it, took down all the cheesy, live, laugh, love signs she forced me to hang, ordered a new mattress. For years, she claimed my old one hurt her back, so I slept on the edge to keep it good. Not anymore. Changed all the passwords. Wi-Fi, streaming, everything. Removed her from the phone plan, deleted her from every account. I even dug through old family photos and found the ones that actually made me smile, not just the ones she approved to frame. It felt like waking up from a coma. How did I not see all this before? Around 4 p.m., my doorbell camera pinged. There she was, standing on the porch with her overnight bag, staring confused at the new doorknob. I watched her try her old key, then pound on the door. I didn't answer. She called me 14 times in 20 minutes, left voicemails that went from confused to angry to sobbing. The last one just said she was going to Laura's and that she'd give me space until I calmed down. This morning, I met with a lawyer, started the divorce. It's gonna be messy. House, investments, 8 years of tangled lives. But I don't care. If I have to start from scratch at 34, so be it. She showed up at my work an hour ago, mascara streaked, eyes red, putting on the perfect, heartbroken woman act. Made a scene, asked what she did wrong, why I changed the locks, if I was seeing someone else. I just looked at her and said, I'm not your rescue dog anymore. The way her face dropped, she knew exactly what I meant. She started crying again, claimed she was joking, that I'd taken things out of context, that I invaded her privacy. I just turned around and walked back inside. She's been blowing up my phone ever since. Laura, Ruth, and Haley all texted too. Called me immature, cruel, said I was ending 8 years over one comment. But we all know it wasn't just one comment. It never is. It was 8 years of disrespect and lies. Skyler said she's coming by the house, said we need to talk face to face. I agreed. Not because I owe her anything, but because I've got 8 years of receipts to show her. 8 years of being treated like a convenience. I don't know what happens after that, but for the first time in a long time, I'm the one deciding what comes next. And it feels damn good. Update. Probably the last one. These past 2 weeks have been chaos. I'm still processing, but thanks to everyone who followed this, who gave advice. You've been the sanity I didn't know I needed. So, where were we? Skyler was supposed to come over. She tried bringing her dad for backup. That got shut down fast. She finally agreed to come alone. I spent that day laying everything out. Bank records, credit cards, texts, like some sad museum exhibit of our marriage. Hugo helped me rig my phone to record everything, legal in my state, confirmed by my lawyer. At 7:30, she showed up. I checked the camera, just her, not crying anymore. She had her makeup done, hair styled, wearing that blue dress she knows. I liked. Classic move. She went in for a hug. I stepped back and waved her in without touching her. The first 10 minutes were surreal. She strolled around, complimented the furniture, asked if I wanted wine, as if it was just another night in. Then she saw the table covered in papers. Her face changed fast. The tears came next. She claimed it was a dumb joke, taken the wrong way, that I was being too harsh, that snooping her messages was the real betrayal. I let her ramble. When she finally stopped, I slid the bank statements over and asked about the $20,000. Y'all? She switched gears so fast. First, it was a surprise vacation fund. Then, it was emergency savings her therapist told her to keep. Then, when I matched the transactions to shopping and girls' trips, she snapped, said she deserved nice things for putting up with me for 8 years. And there it was. Mask off. The next hour was wild. She cried, begged, got angry, flirted, cried again. When none of it worked, she started threatening me. Said she'd tell everyone I abused her, that her dad would ruin me financially, that no woman would want me after what she'd say. I just pulled out my phone and played the spa car clip, her laughing, calling me a rescue dog. She went pale, then red. Then she hurled a glass of water against the wall. Right then, the doorbell rang. It was Laura, alone. She looked nervous. This wasn't planned. Turns out she'd been parked nearby, working up the courage to come talk. Skyler exploded, called her a traitor. But Laura had her own receipts, screenshots I hadn't seen. Messages Skyler sent during the spa weekend, bragging about cheating on me with her boss, plotting to leave me once the promotion came through. There were photos, too. Definitely not innocent. I just sat on the couch and laughed, really laughed. 8 years of my life wasted on someone who saw me as a tool. Laura looked at both of us and asked Skyler why she would do that to someone who treated her so well. Said she'd felt guilty. For months, watching her lie and mock me, that the car ride joke broke her silence. Skyler lost it, cussed Laura out, said, "While I was under the sink fixing that annoying leak, I caught a glimpse of him behind me, copying my every move and making stupid faces." Laura's laughter echoed through the speakerphone, and the look on Hugo's face said it all. That's when I knew I wasn't losing my mind. We spent the rest of that Saturday making a plan. First stop, the bank. I opened an account solely in my name and transferred half of what was left from our joint one. I left enough for the bills but moved the rest. It wasn't about revenge, it was about protecting myself. Then we reviewed our expenses. I realized I'd been funding a bunch of crap I don't even use. Meal kits she eats alone, spa packages, expensive subscriptions. I canceled everything except essential bills. By Sunday morning, I was on a mission. I called a locksmith, changed all the locks, carefully packed her clothes and personal stuff, and moved them into a storage unit I paid for up front for 30 days. I sent the info to her sister, the only one in her family I still respect. The hard part was next. Telling people. I hate drama, but I needed the truth out there. I made a calm, factual message with screenshots of her cruel texts and shared it with our closest friends and my family. I didn't go nuclear by posting online, just wanted people close to us to hear my side before she could twist it. The reactions were mixed. Her friends were pissed, calling me controlling and invasive for reading her messages. Whatever. My family stood by me. My mom did ask if we'd tried counseling. Sorry, But you don't go to therapy with someone who sees you as their pet. The biggest shock was Skyler's brother. He called that night and said he'd always sensed something was off, but didn't want to interfere. He apologized for staying quiet. Her texts started coming in that same day. First casual, "Hey babe, miss you." Then confused, "Why aren't you answering?" Then angry, "Pick up now, this isn't funny." I didn't answer any. I took Monday off, reclaimed the house, moved furniture the way I wanted it, took down all that cheesy, live, laugh, love garbage she loved, ordered a new mattress, since for years I slept on my side to keep from ruining her back. Changed all the passwords, removed her from my accounts, combed through old photos, and kept only the ones where I looked genuinely happy. It felt like waking up from a coma. Around 4 p.m., my doorbell camera went off. There she was, standing there confused, trying to use her key on the new lock. She knocked, pounded, and called me 14 times in under half an hour. Left voicemails shifting from panic to anger to begging. The last one said she was going to Laura's and would wait until... I calmed down. Yesterday, I met with a lawyer and started the divorce process. It's going to be messy, shared home, investments, 8 years tangled together, but I don't care. If I have to start over at 34, so be it. An hour ago, she came to my job. Mascara running, eyes swollen, the whole pity performance. She made a scene asking what she did wrong and if there was someone else. I looked at her and said, "I'm not your rescue dog anymore." The look on her face, she knew exactly what I meant. She cried and said she didn't mean it, that I was overreacting to a joke, said I invaded her privacy. I just walked away. Now she's flooding my phone. Laura, Ruth, and Haley texted too, accusing me of being cold and dramatic, of ending in me 8-year relationship over one comment. But we know it wasn't just one comment, right? It was years of deception. Skyler's coming to talk face to face. I agreed only because I have 8 years worth of receipts. 8 years of being treated like a loyal pet trained to serve. I don't know what comes next, but I do know this. I'm finally in control of my own life, and it feels amazing. Okay, this is probably the final update. These past 2 weeks have been complete chaos, and I'm still processing everything. Thanks to everyone who followed along and shared advice. You've honestly been my lifeline through this. So where did we leave off? Right. Skyler was supposed to come over. She tried to bring her dad as backup, but I shut that down. Eventually, she agreed to come alone. I spent that day laying out all the evidence, bank statements, credit card, charges, texts, like a sad little museum exhibit of our failed marriage. Hugo came by and helped me set up my phone to record the whole conversation. Totally legal in my state, by the way. At 7:30, the doorbell rang. She showed up looking put together, hair done, makeup on, and wearing that blue dress I used to like. Classic manipulation move. When I opened the door, I could smell her perfume, the expensive one she only used for special occasions. She went in for a hug. I stepped aside and let her in. The first few minutes were surreal. She acted like a guest in someone else's house, commenting on the furniture, asking if I wanted wine, complimenting how I'd rearrange things, like we were having a normal night in. Then she saw the documents on the dining table. Her face changed immediately. She started crying, said it was all a big joke taken out of context, that I was blowing things up, and that reading her messages was the real betrayal. I let her ramble, then slid the bank statements over to her and asked about the $20,000. Her story shifted instantly. First, it was a surprise vacation fund. Then it was secret savings her therapist told her to keep. Then when I showed the dates, matched her shopping and girl trips, she snapped. Said she deserved nice things after putting up with me for 8 years. That was the moment the mask dropped. What followed was a one-woman emotional performance. Crying, pleading, seduction, accusations, threats. When nothing worked, She warned she'd tell everyone I was abusive, that her dad would ruin me, that no one would ever want me. I just hit play on the recording of her rescue dog joke. She froze, then went beet red and hurled a glass at the wall. That's when the doorbell rang again. It was Laura, alone, nervous, not planned. She had been sitting down the street for almost an hour before deciding to come talk. Skyler exploded, yelling at her for betraying her, but Laura had receipts of her own. Texts from the spa weekend where Skyler bragged about cheating on me, with her boss. She was planning to trade up after locking down a promised promotion. There were even photos. Definitely not just office selfies. I couldn't help but laugh. 8 years of my life, and I was just a stepping stone to her next level. Laura asked her straight up, how could she do that to someone who treated her well? She said she'd been feeling guilty for months, but that joke was the final straw. Skyler lost it again, called Laura every vile name imaginable. After Laura left, Skyler tried one last angle, said she needed money to get on her feet, that we could settle privately if I just gave her access again. I handed her my lawyer's card and walked her to the door. She cried, asked if the 8 years meant nothing. I told her they meant everything. That's why this hurts so much. And I shut the door. The last couple of weeks have been equal parts, calm and chaos. Calm because I'm finally discovering who I am again. Chaos because divorce with someone like Skyler is like untying barbed wire. She ran up $2,000 on our joint card before I could shut it down. My lawyer says we'll factor that into the split. Her dad called, not to yell, but to apologize. Said they enabled her behavior her whole life. That hit harder than I expected. Made me realize she's probably never going to change. It's been 6 weeks since that car ride. The divorce is progressing. We're selling the house and splitting the proceeds, minus what she drained. I'm crashing at Hugo's while apartment hunting. Last night, I went on my first date since college. Nothing big, just coffee with someone a friend set me up with. It was awkward, but it felt good to have a normal conversation with someone who actually seemed interested in me. I don't know where life's going next, but I know I'm never going back to being someone's backup plan or emotional punching. I've started setting boundaries across the board. Lost some mutual friends, but the ones who stayed are real. If you're reading this and feeling stuck or second-guessing your gut, listen to it. If something feels wrong, it usually is. You deserve more than being someone's pet project. As for Skyler, last I heard she's living with her parents, still spinning her tale where I'm the villain. Laura told me her boss dumped her once the drama surfaced. He was married too. Go figure. Karma always finds a way. Sometimes I still miss what I thought we had. But when I remember the reality behind it all, I know I made the right call. Thanks for listening, Reddit. You helped me find my spine. I may not update again, but know your support meant everything.